Hello. In the UK, abortion is allowed during the first 24 weeks of a baby's life. But if that baby is deemed to have a disability, that time frame is extended up to birth. And disability here includes conditions like cleft palate, club foot, and Down syndrome. And many people say this is downright discrimination. And two of the women at the forefront of the campaign to change this are the good friends of the Christian Institute, Heidi Crowter, and her mum, Liz. Hello, both of you.
Hello.
Well, you were at the High Court last October.
It was last September.
Yeah, and it ruled against you. And tomorrow you're at the Court of Appeal for a permission hearing. So, Heidi, I just wonder if you could just tell people a little bit about that, what is happening tomorrow.
So tomorrow we're having the oral hearing in the Court of Appeal. What time? I don't have time. We don't have the time yet, but it'll be in the Court of Appeal, and we have 2 hours to persuade them.
So you've got 2 hours to make your arguments for a future hearing at the Court of Appeal. That's right, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, Heidi, you have, after the High Court ruling, you've spoken quite honestly, or very honestly, very movingly, that you felt like giving up, and others perhaps would have given up, but you haven't. Why is that?
The reason why I haven't given up is because I know that I will win. Because if God is for me, He could be against me.
Fantastic.
I've got the universe on my side.
Absolutely. But you're not in this battle alone. God is on your side. In the room as well, as well as Liz, your husband James, of course, is supporting you in this, and also
he's been by my side, and he's also a very good story to cry on. When I was really upset at the court in September, he just took me into his loving arms and gave me a big kiss.
There's your fellow campaigner as well, Moira Lee Wilson, whose little boy Aidan has got Down syndrome. Can you tell me, how have these people who are closest to you, James, Moira and others, were they affected in the same way, or are they still up for the fight now?
I think we're all still up for the fight. Yes, it's hard, but we're going to carry on, aren't we? We're going to keep on fighting.
Excellent. Well, Liz, if I could turn to you for a moment, something like 85% of babies diagnosed with Down syndrome are aborted. Do you think there is an assumption that medics have, or even pressure from medics for women, for couples to choose abortion when Downs is suspected or when Downs is diagnosed?
Very much so. Parents are often given the information about the Down syndrome and told about termination in the same sentence. 70% of women who were given a diagnosis had a termination mentioned in the same sentence. And when parents say no, sometimes doctors accept that and leave it, and then give them helpful information. Other times, doctors and midwives keep coming back to it, mentioning it every time. A lady was told, you can abort right up until the baby's coming down the birth canal. And she'd said no every time. And they still said that.
Is there more you think that can be done in terms of educating expectant parents, or just people who perhaps even aren't necessarily thinking about having children yet, but more to educate them, more that can be done to educate them as regards what it means to have a child with Downs, the challenges. I mean, of course, we're not pretending there won't be challenges, but all children have challenges, but also the joys. Is there something more that can be done to help people even before they get they have a choice to make?
Yeah, definitely. So I think, children with Down syndrome and other disabilities who are going to mainstream schools and being seen in society are evidence themselves, and that would always be a good sign to show other parents and show people what Down syndrome's like in 2022. Sorry. We work very closely with Positive About Down syndrome and Don't Screen Us Out, and they both work different ways with hospitals, with midwives, training doctors, training midwives in how to make the diagnosis and how to tell the parents. They work closely to try and get the NHS changed so that alternatives to abortion, like on or adoption, we're trying to get those sort of things more into the NHS websites and leaflets.
And I remember that Amila was asking for information, and she
was asking for information and support, and they gave her
a leaflet about grief and planning the baby's funeral.
Oh gosh, right.
Because I think it's disgusting.
She was 12 weeks, and she hadn't got a definite diagnosis. It might have been another chromosome abnormality, but she was just asking for information about whatever chromosome it was, given a antenatal resources and choice, which was about how to cope with terminating and how to tell your family and how to grieve and have a funeral.
Because there are a lot of positive Downs role models these days, aren't there? I mean, Heidi is one, of course.
And I would say James as well.
And James. But there's others. There's people acting, there's people presenting, there's people modelling, there's people doing sports, people doing everything, all sorts of things in different walks of life. There isn't a reason, is there, for people to feel like that there's no hope, there's no future, and this campaign is one way among the many ways that it's going to help to bring that sort of positive view that doesn't get enough attention. Well, perhaps I could just leave you with one last question, which is: there'll be Christians watching this, there'll be non-Christians watching this as well. What would you like to say to them going into this hearing tomorrow?
That we are amazing, just the way we are.
And what would you like them to do for us?
Oh yes, and we would like you to post on social media with your fingers like this, like this.
What's the significance?
So both times before the court case and the results, we painted the dates on the palms of our hands, and this time some of the people involved suggested we did fingers crossed with the 8th of March written on.
This I can't do because it hurts.
Fingers crossed with 8th of March written on them. But yeah, most importantly, I think we both would ask people to pray for us.
Yes.
Heidi is going to be given the opportunity to give a very short speech tomorrow, so pray that she'll be able to do that.
And pray that I won't be able to, that I won't be crying.
Yeah, sure.
I won't get too upset.
Well,
and that I won't fall asleep.
Yes, we're staying in there for the whole 2 hours this time.
And I'll be falling asleep. When I won't really, because it's my case.
Well, there's so many people supporting you. There's so many people praying for you, and I'm sure this what you've had to say today will just encourage them to pray that little bit more. So thank you both very much. It's always such a pleasure to speak to you both. Thank you so much for making the time to speak to me. Really appreciate it.
And have a good Easter.
Thank you very much.